What's up, guys? Yahoo's here. I just wanted to quickly give you guys an update. I'm sure some of you are aware that I've been, spotty in activity for a while as far as the power ranks and monthlies go. I haven't given nearly as much effort into those endeavors as I have in the past few months. Some of you may know that I have been going through a few personal troubles. Some of you don't. I'm not going to divulge, the whole site on the specifics of that. Some of you, if you already know what those are, please don't, um, spread that information around. I encourage that to, remain under wraps. I don't like my personal life getting out there as much as it might. But I've been talking to my family a lot, and I've been talking to my therapist, and as far as all that's concerned, I am, like 99% out of the woods. So I want to, with all that being said, I want to give a little bit of an update as to where I'm at and what you can expect from me. It's not a lot, just to give you guys a little bit of a warning. So a lot of people have been asking me if I'm going to be releasing, the analysis videos for the monthlies. I'm already behind on the June monthlies. The July monthlies just finished up. They finished up, 2 days ago, and I've given it a little bit of thought, and the short answer is no. I'm not going to be doing any more monthly analyses. The long answer to that is something that I've kind of learned from this past month is the only way you're actually going to change, yourself is through lots of self-reflection and, a desire to change, right? SailX is one of those things where, especially for me in my experience, it's like you have to have the motivation to want to change and improve and get better. Like in your soul, you have to want it, and two, put in the effort to do so, which means doing research on your own, watching replays, looking at things objectively. That's a huge one. Something I've also learned is that it is easy to, shift blame onto others. It's easy to get angry with others and blame them for, your shortcomings. But ultimately, the onus is on you as far as your performance goes. You ultimately make the decisions you do. You ultimately get yourself caught up in those bad situations. And ultimately, it's no less anyone's fault except yourself. So, with that in mind, I'm really looking to encourage that kind of learning as far as SailX goes. I don't want to spoon feed, my input to you guys and expect, because what that creates is like, oh, some of the information I provide is nice, as far as the lab discoveries, those are, that's useful information. There was a protest, however, where that information was misused. I'm not going to say which one. Some viewers of this video might watch this and figure that out, but there was a protest, within the past few weeks that the information was misused, and for me, that was kind of the starting point in this conversation with myself, where I was like, should I really be spoon-feeding people information like this and spoon-feeding my take on things? Because if I do, then it's information that they just sort of take for value. It's like they take the shortcut and they think that's what's gonna make them better, but in reality, it's not. People have come to me and asked me for, coaching and, practice with me, thinking that's going to make them better. It's not. people have come to me, asking me to look at the replays and tell them what they could do better, which, that helps, but ultimately what I'm trying to get at is that, the only person that can make yourself better is you. And SailX is a great place for people to come together and share their own take on things. But a lot of that information gets either lost in translation, it gets misinterpreted. People sometimes misinterpret it to the point where they start getting angry with each other. It's a good place to put in your own input, but as far as your own performance goes, and what you personally want out of the site, that's on you. I'm not saying that as an excuse necessarily to alleviate some of the workload I have. If if I wanted to do that, it would be from a place of, first of all, not giving you guys this update. It would be just just sort of piecing out and being selfish about it. But I made this update to get the point across that I've thought about what I've been doing on this as far as the site has gone, and stepping back from it has allowed me to get a new perspective on it, especially with everything that's been going on with me. And I personally think that there are much better ways to garner, and encourage improvement in people. Not just, making the site more competitive is one of those things, but it serves as the motivator, but the person who is motivated is ultimately the players themselves, and it's good to ask for guidance. I'm not saying it's not good to ask for guidance. I'm not saying, I'm not available if you guys have questions for me, but it's one thing for me to answer your questions and then be like, oh well, I just need to do this from now on, and then I'll be all set, because that's not always the case. It's a very situational game, and it takes less practical knowledge as much as it is pattern recognition and situational intuition. So in my opinion, that's not something that can be taught. That's something that can only be garnered within yourself. The sad reality that I have to impart onto you guys is that not all users are created equal. You sail the exact same boat, it goes the exact same speed, but ultimately, not everyone's going to get to the point where they reach the top guys. That just doesn't happen for some people. They just don't have the, there's two parts to it. Obviously, there's the motivation, like I discussed, and also the raw talent, right? You have to have some sort of natural pattern recognition skills in order to succeed at the game. So as far as doing analysis videos, I do not plan on doing them in the near future, unless if there's a situation someone in my Discord comes and talks to me about, and I find it interesting and I kind of want to discuss it, and I think I can discuss it in depth. I think I'll be doing it more that way, rather than I'll probably look at specific situations rather than try to analyze a whole regatta, because I think it's not even just that that it discourages people from thinking critically, but it also, because I feel like I'm giving answers at that point almost, but it's also a lot of information for people to process at once, condensed into an hour or so of video, which I also don't believe in. there's so many decision trees that happen in regattas, as in life, and ultimately you can't teach it all in an hour video, as much as I try. So, with all that said, the monthly analyses are, as of now, put to the side. I don't personally feel, um, I'm not invested in them anymore, and I'm not really a believer of them anymore. I believe that, it is good to ask questions, but it is ultimately up to you as to how good you want to get at this game. And, me putting out an analysis video is not going to help you as much as you think it is. It's not. It's good content, potentially, I don't know. People say it is, somewhat. People have been asking me about it, so I assume there's some demand for it, but I don't believe in it anymore. I believe that if you want to best learn about what the top guys in the monthlies are doing, you should look at it with your own perspective, and ask your own questions. And I have plenty of threads, guiding people on like what kind of questions to ask. I have an improvements thread that I could go to right now. Actually, I think I'm going to do that. So, no, I'm not going to protest. It's like, if you don't visit the tactics and strategy forum on SailX, then I'm sorry, but like, you're just, like, as far as improvement goes, like, you're missing out. I'm trying to find it. Here we go. So yeah, like, I have threads like this. They're kind of blurry right now, but I'm going to bump it in the video, and then you'll see that it's bumped in the forums. If you want any, starting point on improvement. If you want something recent, if you're like a new player that wants to, improve quickly, I have other threads. I have, like, this is basically my domain. It's my spaghetti and meatballs. This whole part of the forum. I have stuff on each boat. Someone stickied my ultimate starter pack to SailX, and everyone should check it out. It's basically everything I've kind of found from my labs, and like it's a synthesis of a lot of my work. Not entirely complete yet, but someone was gracious enough to sticky it, and I personally think it's a good thread to start out. If you want more details, you can go to all these boat threads. It's like, I could try explaining it all to you. I have tried to explain it all to you many times. It doesn't always work, but if you want to try to grasp at it, you can come to me and ask me questions about it. You can read it for yourself, and then you can ultimately figure out, okay, so when he says optimal downwind angle, it actually means this, and there are other downwind angles that kind of closely match it, but are somewhat situational, that I can also use. And it's like, you can decipher all this information, and then you go to my other threads that are like, they're more conceptual threads. They're not as much mathematically based. Like winning the pin, right? I don't have replays that go along with that, but like, there's positioning, knowing the importance of knowing your competition. This one was my first one, crowd dynamics and the importance of separation. I think personally one of my most important threads and most underrated threads of all time. Like, this is all stuff that you guys can read on, and I feel like until there's some more in-depth discussion on those kind of topics, it's pointless for me to put out any analysis videos, because I'm spoon-feeding answers to people that like can listen and understand what I'm trying to say, but ultimately can't grasp it and apply it. That's not to say that everyone's in that boat, no pun intended, but what I'm really trying to do is encourage self-improvement, because I feel like the more I spoon feed things, the more things get taken for granted, and the less people actually wind up improving at this game. If you want to like really improve your results drastically, then you have to take a look at yourself objectively. That's ultimately what it is. So other plans that I have, the monthlies will be continuing as normal, I hope. I've had a lot less involvement in that recently. But, my good friends Laser and Matt have taken over, and they've done a very good job. So hats off to them. They've really stepped up to the plate, and I commend them for their commitment, and really appreciate that they are able to keep one of my endeavors alive. I am hoping to host a world championship this year. I feel like that it's kind of overdue, and we could really use one. It's just I'm trying to figure out when the best timing for it would be. I'm thinking maybe this fall, potentially winter, because my reasoning behind that is that, like, most of the people that play this game are in the northern hemisphere, and they're less likely to be sailing and more likely to be on their computers at this time. So I figured, in order to maximize competition, then we're likely going to be hosting it when it's colder in the northern hemisphere. That's not to say that I don't care about the southern hemisphere guys, like Australia and South America, but like, I mean, those guys will probably come out, with proper promotion of it anyway. It just, purely on the stance of this macro stance of getting as much competition as possible, we probably want to host it like in the fall or winter. But that's something I want to bring up with the PRC when I'm sort of done shifting through all of my personal stuff. Not even the stuff that I discussed before, but like, I still have some things I want to focus on. Like, for example, I'm almost done with my goal of losing, or not losing, but I guess going down to 155 pounds. I gained a lot of weight in college, and I'm trying to lose all of it. I'm at 158 right now. And I'm trying to go at 155, potentially even lower. I'm still job searching, so that's another thing. So I have to clear out some of those personal goals before I go start, tackling SailX again. I just need to get my foundation back, essentially. So with that being said, I hope this video doesn't come off as too harsh. I know some of you might be watching this and be like, "Oh, why are you giving up on us?" And like, are we not worth your time anymore? Like, do you feel like there's not a point to like teaching us? Like, are we not that important to you? And which I say, it's like, no, I don't think that at all. I just think that like I've been reflecting on, ways to overcome what I've been going through, and also, how that relates to SailX and my time and my development on the site. And I personally think that this would be at least worth exploring as far as getting some improvement in overall skill on the site. Also, something you can do, shameless promotion time, is join the SailX Discord. Let me see if it's on the screen. Yeah. So I have this wonderful little coaching Discord going, where we have a few people. Jockey just joined. I have to actually give him roles. So you have different roles. In Jockey's case, each challenger, also 18 plus. But it's like you have different roles that you can do. You can have based on your role in SailX. So you have monthly champions, Hall of Famers, national champion, world champion. Usually the world champions are also coaches. The moderators are our rules guys. We have, channel for rules discussion. We have a channel for tactics and strategy. This post is obsolete. You have resources which lead to a lot of my threads and my blog where I post a lot of the stuff. This channel is also obsolete now, but essentially you have this thread where you can go and discuss stuff with other motivated SailXers that are also looking to improve in some aspect. And if you want to join, then I will leave that link on the same thread I post this video. But I encourage it. The forum can be a little noisy sometimes with people asking about technical stuff and lag and protests flying here and there, and a few drama points also coming up every once in a while. This thread is specifically meant to tackle improvement and includes people that really want to improve the game. So if you are one of those people, I encourage you to join. Anyone can join, and if you want to ask me more questions about either who's in it, or if it's right for you, then feel free to shoot me a PM. But that's essentially all I have for you guys. Yeah, so I hope you know where I've been at and what I plan on doing. I hope it gives you more insight as to what to expect from me. So this is Yahoo's signing out, and I will see you guys in the next video.